Welcome to the Shred the Spread podcast, your home for all of your NFL sports betting needs. I'm your host, Jared, and back for our week 6 preview is my co-host, my right-hand man, my dude, Donnell. What's going on, man? Welcome back.
Yeah, what's good, my guy? I'm glad to be back. I'm ready to dive into these slates, man. Trying to win some money again. Like I said, me personally, I came up so close a lot of the times, man. We've been making a lot of good picks as of late, man. This is once again, you talk about a tough slate the past 2 weeks. Shit. This slate here, you're gonna have to dig in again, bro. Get the shovel. It's time to dig.
Yeah, in my opinion, this is definitely the most difficult slate on the schedule so far, just because there was a lot of bigger spreads and there's a lot of spreads right at the key number, which obviously makes sense at the key number. But I mean, just looking over it, there's a few spots where it's almost just seems impossible to bet. But obviously our contest lines do lock prior to Sunday. So they're locked right now. So some of these spreads have been moving back and forth. There's been several lines, for example, the Browns and Niners. That line has been all over the place from 2.5 all the way up to 7 in some places. So we'll just have to go through according based off of our contest lines, and that's all we can do. So obviously going for our 6th consecutive winning week to start the season. 3-2, obviously not ideal, but a winning week is a winning week. We cannot get greedy. So without further ado, Donnell, let's get right into week 6.
All right, here we go. So in all likelihood, Deshaun Jackson's going to at least get a return. Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding? Way downtown. Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Leading us off Thursday night, we've got the Denver Broncos traveling to Kansas City. The Taylor Swift primetime special. Chiefs minus 10.5 at home. I mean, like a divisional game, 10.5 points. I mean, the play is the Broncos, but can we play that? This is a rough game. Broncos obviously looked pitiful last week. We took them in our contest last week and could not seal the deal versus the Jets. Jets went outright. What do you think, man?
Looking into it, I'm definitely digging the 10.5, the points in the division game. Like you said, a lot of division games, you don't really see a point total that high. So that's already rare as it is. And on top of that, too, what do we always say every time Patrick Mahomes gets a big spread? He never covers. The Chiefs never cover. It was the same deal with the Jets last week. And by God, who saw that, right? That was a 3-point game. And Zach Wilson played his best game of his career. But at the end of the day, like you said, this is something we got to discuss a little bit more. Only because, let's be honest, this game is in Kansas City. That loud-ass crowd is not in Mile High. And on top of that, too, this offense, not the offense. The offense has actually been looking pretty decent as it is. That's the only reason why I'm kind of considering this. The defense just looks atrocious. They did bounce back last week, especially late in the game. Pastor Tam with a clutch interception. But Isaiah Pacheco in that running game against that Denver front, whoo, that's going to be a tough matchup. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to try to, dig into this a little bit more.
Yeah, obviously Thursday night game. A lot of these games have been going under. I like the points. This is just a spot I'll have to play every time they play. Every time the Broncos play the Chiefs, it's a huge spread, and I just take the points. I got lucky last year in the spot, and they covered. But Pacheco versus that Broncos defense. I mean, I would not be if you told me Pacheco had 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, I wouldn't even be shocked. But yeah, the Broncos are the Broncos. Chiefs are the Chiefs. We know what to expect. Let's move on to the first game on Sunday, which is the London game. We have the Ravens minus 4.5 versus the Titans. Obviously, if this was in Tennessee, Donnell and I would be all over this Tennessee team. We love Vrabel at home as a big, 4-point dog, 4.5-point dog. But this is in London. I don't necessarily know if I can use those same credentials that we use for the Titans. This is most likely going to be a stay away. I think if we did play it in the contest, it definitely would be the Titans, just because we are getting that 4, that key number plus the hook. But I don't know. This Titans team, I really like them at home or as a big dog. And I don't know how either of these teams are going to compete, across the world in London.
Yeah, right.
This is just, we have no data on it. So this is hard for me to pick a side in our contest. What about you?
I mean, just off of last week alone, I'm definitely not laying points on the Ravens at 4.5 as it is period one. And then two, like you said, that the Titans aren't truly at home. It is a designated home game, but they're really not at home. Also, is that you consider the fact that once again, Derrick Henry, like I said, Derrick Henry didn't score a touchdown all last week. That offensive line's been struggling against good fronts. This Ravens defense is still a powerhouse at the end of the day. Like I said, if you want to take the under, by all means, yeah, take the under. I mean, by all means, that's probably my favorite play out of this. But like I said, I would like to stay away, considering the fact that it's in London and the Ravens offense didn't know what they want to do. They didn't know if they wanted to catch a pass or whatever.
Yeah, just a lot of unlucky plays on the Ravens side last week. But hey, taking the Titans in the point might not be too terrible of a spot, but most likely going to be a pass just for this week. So let's move on to one of the more intriguing matchups this week. We have the Commanders heading to Atlanta. Obviously, had Atlanta in the contest last week at 2.5. They win by 2. Sucks because we didn't even get the best of the number. And, our contest was 2.5, and you could have actually gotten the Falcons up to about 2 hours before kickoff at 1.5 and 2. So that kind of stinks. But, the thing that we like about this Commanders team is their offense can and has the potential to explode. This Falcons team does not. This Falcons team is really slow and methodic. They like to slow the game down. They like to run the ball. They usually have low scoring games that they win, and they just rely on their defense to not give up 25 to 30 points. But Sam Howell in these spots seem to find his footing. They're coming off of a bad loss to the Chicago Bears. They have an extended week. I feel like this is a get right spot. I think the Commanders should personally be favored in this matchup. They're plus 2.5 in our contest. I think the Commanders win this outright. I love the Commanders in this spot.
Now, you know what's funny? I try to not be biased when it comes to my picks as it is. And when you said you was on the Commander side, I was kind of off a little bit, but then I was like, nah, let's hop on board. Because let's really, really dive in and think about it, right? This Commanders defense, what's been plaguing them all year long is big plays. The Falcons can't do that. The Falcons are, to me, I think the Falcons are completely incapable of getting a play over 30 to 40 yards. Honest to God. Their strength is by far the running game. Like I said, they don't really use. They've been using Kyle Pitts and Drake London a little bit more recently, but not to the effectiveness they need under them to compete against great defenses. At the end of the day, John Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, we get it. The running game, the run defense has not been even remotely close to what it has been. It was one of the top 3 last year. But think of this as a get-back spot. Understand that when you can zone in on one aspect of the offensive game, on the running game, and you can kind of box the middle up, you make it easy and clean as day. Now, like you said, I'm not gonna say that Drake London is gonna have a poor performance, pistol performance, Kyle Pitts is gonna have a pistol performance. But at the end of the day, you're giving me the Commanders defense to only solely really focus on one aspect of the game. No big plays. The offense can move up and down against anybody, and they've proven that. All right, they had a little turnover problem here and there, but at the end of the day, they've been moving the ball up and down the field with ease. And at the end of the day, like you said, we're in Mercedes-Benz, right? Big whoop. It's in a dome. Weather doesn't play a factor. That only means Sam Howell more passing yards. So honestly, you best believe I'm taking. I'm definitely taking my Commanders minus 2.5. Easy. Like I said, I just didn't want to be too biased, but I'm glad you kind of confirmed it for me.
Yeah, Commanders plus 2.5. Like this spot, I think they should be favorites. And Dino hit it on the head. That he took the words right out of my mouth. A team with the capability of shutting down the run now gets to only focus on shutting down the run. I think this is a great get back spot for the Commanders after that disappointing performance on prime time last Thursday. Give me the Commanders plus 2.5. This next game, not really much to say. It's the Niners minus 5.5 traveling to Cleveland. If Deshaun Watson was going to play, I was going to be all over this game. It looks like he's going to be out. That's why this line has shot all the way up to 7 in some places. If Deshaun Watson is out, just give me the Niners minus 5.5. You're getting it under the key number of 6. The biggest thing is this may not be a high scoring game, but I don't know if the Browns score a touchdown without Deshaun Watson. DTR in that offense just looks like a lost dog. I don't want anything to do with the Browns. If the Browns are running out there without Deshaun Watson, give me their team total under. Give me, everything anti-Cleveland. So I think if Deshaun Watson doesn't play, this is definitely a Niners minus 5.5. What about you?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Like I said, I texted you earlier. I texted you earlier today saying, hey, what do you think about the Browns minus 5.5? And like you said, and you said it right there, everything's going good, but I didn't realize that Deshaun Watson would still probably not play even after the bye week. I thought that bye week would have given him enough time to kind of get ready and get set for the game this week. That does not appear to be the case. Funny thing is, DTR is not starting at quarterback this week.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's really not. I forgot who they said was probably going to take over. Oh, PJ Walker has a possibility. Yeah, basically 1A and 1B. Oh, I'm sorry, 2A and 2B.
We saw how that went in
Carolina. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, my opinion doesn't change. If Deshaun Watson's out, we'll be all over this Niners team just because just compared to the market, we're getting a good number, 5.5. It's up to 7. So luckily for the contest, it doesn't move. It's static numbers. So 5.5. Not really much to say about that.
Hey, didn't they average? Don't the 49ers average 30?
Yeah. Do I think
they
Cleveland defense
average 30?
Yeah. Do I think the Cleveland defense slows them down? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But because the defense is going to be on the field the entire game, I feel like there's just going to be some type of fatigue that obviously will translate onto the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, we're going to be on the Niners if Deshaun Watson is ruled out. Moving on to the next game, the Saints traveling to Houston to face the Texans. Texans are plus 1.5 at home. This number was 3.5. I would have been on the Texans at that number. The number has been bet down like crazy by the pros. Saints minus 1.5 on the road. That's hard to play, especially with the Saints coming off a dominant performance versus the Patriots. Obviously, it's the Patriots, so do with that information what you will. I don't like the spot for the Saints on the road. CJ Stroud he's looked like a pro. He has been picking these teams apart, making his hot reads, taking hits while making the read. He stands in the pocket. He just looks like he's been doing this for a few years. And I think that's pretty hard to bet against. So I'll be off of this game. I don't like a side. I just think it's kind of at a dead right number right now. What do you got?
Two good defenses going against each other. We talk about the Saints defense all the time, especially after that blowout they just put on last week. But let's not forget the Houston defense definitely played tough as it is against that Atlanta Falcons offense. Held Bijan to a respectable 60 yards, gave him a touchdown, but that was receiving. And on top of that, when you put that together, like I said, CJ Stroud is consistent. So consistent, just consistent performances. Nico, he's making Nico Collins like Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
little exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. It's too tough to tell. This Saints team is up, down as it is, period. On top of that, before last week, we was really struggling. We was really thinking about, man, do we trust them against the Patriots this week? Even a tad bit. We had to list a little bit of doubt. Granted, they dispelled that all within the first quarter, but this is still a team you need to watch out for. Kind of be careful and bet them very, very slightly. And like you said, the Houston Texans, man, they took the value early, bro. Like I said, I thought we would have had a little bit more time to get a +5, +6, but nope. Vegas stopped doing it soon after week 4, man. Like you said, the value's gone. So I'd rather just stay away.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to one of the big favorites of the week, we have the Dolphins hosting the Panthers. Dolphins minus 13.5 at home versus the Panthers. Why is this number not like 17? Like you have probably the best offense right now, clicking on all cylinders at home versus the Panthers, who are struggling to get first downs, nevertheless a touchdown. I like this spot. This has potential to be one of our 5 if we can't find. Obviously, you guys know Dino and I don't like betting these big favorites. But the number, we're getting it under 2 touchdowns, which just sounds crazy how casual that just came out of my mouth. But we're getting the Dolphins under 2 touchdowns at home, good weather. Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. A-Chain is on the IR, but we still have Mostert. Not that we needed to run the ball versus Carolina team, but Tua is probably going to throw for 350 yards. Tyreek Hill probably finds the end zone once or twice. I mean, this could get ugly fast. We have a team that's most likely going to put up 40 points versus a team that might not put up 14. So if I pick a side right now, I'm all over the Dolphins. I just can't put my money on the Panthers to play catch-up-ball game.
Not at all. You heard my segment last week on what I said about the Panthers. Running game, poop. Passing game, poop. And this Miami team just came off. This came off of a win after a bounce back loss. Come on, bro. This Miami team moves the ball any which way, and they have the speed to just outrun everybody. I don't even think anybody in Carolina can even step in within 2 to 3 steps of Tyreek Hill, honest to God. And then you pair that with, a rookie quarterback, like I said, a rookie quarterback on the road who's already been struggling as it is. What are we talking about? Like I said, I don't like big numbers, but this might be a discussion. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm actually thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure. especially when a big favorite, if they throw a pick six, the odds of them covering that spread is like if a favorite of 10 points or more throws an interception. I think I saw a stat where 10-point favorites throwing a pick six have a chance of covering of like 25%, and the Dolphins still covered with ease. So that says something about the explosiveness of their offense. I love the Dolphins this week, would be one of my favorite survivors. Obviously that, I don't see a later day where the Panthers Panthers win. Let's move on to the Bengals hosting the Seahawks. Bengals are -2.5 at home. This one is a little bit more difficult for me to handicap just because I don't know how to evaluate the Bengals versus the Cardinals. The one thing I will say, Joe Burrow, his movement in and out of the pocket looked way different from the last few weeks. He was able to get outside the pocket, get a little bit of momentum on his throw. He was hitting Jamar Chase in stride. Jamar Chase didn't have to slow down or backtrack for the ball. Jamar Chase was speeding up for these passes, and I think that shows the growth of his injury in that calf. Joe Burrow was able to get some power behind the ball again. His throws just look a little bit more accurate and pinpoint. He looks like he's getting his strength back in his legs, and I think that's a big takeaway. But they did play the Cardinals. The Cardinals did blow coverage several times to wide open receivers. It was just him fitting it in the basket. I need to dig into this one a little bit more because my gut is telling me the Bengals -2.5, but I don't want to count out the Seahawks just because of how explosive their offense also is.
Yeah, that's the only note I kind of got here too. Like I said, it's going to be offensive explosion throughout the whole game. So like I said, Cincinnati, let's be honest. We took advantage of Vegas last week on Cincinnati -2.5 against the Cardinals. That was probably one of my, like I said, that was a slam dunk favorite play. And the difference between the two is, like I said, Seattle's offensive output can just, it can just skyrocket. Right now, the Cincinnati offense is still fluctuating. 1 week doesn't dispel a whole season. Let's not forget about that. Like I said, I was talking my shit last week. I said, yeah, Joe Burrow said he's finally good. He's healthy. He's good. But it's going to be tested. It's going to be tested in a shootout. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different of a game when you're leading the whole game and you're in a back and forth shootout. How would I say this? How can your offense handle the burden that the defense will probably give up? Because the Cincinnati defense has been honestly subpar. Definitely has been unexpected. I expected this unit to be a whole lot better. And hey, like I said, who knows, man? This is another toss-up game. This is a game where Cincinnati can get right back on their feet, or Seattle can just take on and stay within a one game against the Niners. So yeah, this is going to be one of those tough games to call. I do like Kenneth Walker as a prop. I feel like the running game is going to be efficient, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. We have an interesting matchup. We have Gardner Minshew, not AR, but Gardner Minshew traveling to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. Jaguars are 4.5-point favorites at home. This is a difficult one because the Jaguars at home are a wagon. The Jaguars at home with Trevor Lawrence, record shows they're very good. They are coming off that big win versus the Bills in London. How does that factor into this game? The only reason I would stay off of the Jaguars is just because of the identity that the Colts have. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor coming back is going to help with the running game, but Zach Moss has looked awesome. Shane Steichen really has that offense looking unique, and they're aggressive. They go for it. They have very creative plays. I like the way they look. But you really can't count out this Jaguars defense at home. They have the potential to pull up 30 points any day. Doug Peterson really has that team clicking, especially the way they played in London. ETN just looks so comfortable in that offense. They're blocking. He's getting outside of coverage. He's making people miss. He's a dual threat on the ground and in the air. This is one I'll most likely stay off for this week. The number is just kind of dead to me right now. It's sitting at 4.5. What about you?
You know what's funny? You saying that about ETN. Honestly, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm kind of struggling to kind of pick the game too, because ETN had a great game last week, as he should. Like I said, that Bills defense had the least attempts given up on the defense because they've been playing ahead since week 1, but giving up the most yards per carry in the league. You know what I'm saying? So that was a bounce back game for ETN. That was a setup game for ETN to kind of do well. Like I said, I hammered that in the podcast on Wednesday last week. Like I said, he fluctuates. It's like he has all the talent in the world to be great. He's very, very intriguing in the pass game, which helps him a lot. But sometimes running the ball, he scares me. He
Yeah.
honestly scares me a little bit. Now, this Jaguars defense, I'm sorry, not Jaguars defense. This Jaguars team as a whole has kind of sputtered out the gate, started off good, then kind of sputtered, and then shoot, you go to your second home in London and shit, you would have never thought the Jaguars disappeared. So hopefully their second home brings back some more home cooking, some leftovers back at home in Everbank Stadium. And like you said, this is kind of too tough to tell. My man Anthony Richardson is out, so that takes away the running threat at quarterback. Which, to be honest with you, in the Shane Steichen offense, I feel like that plays a big deal. So, like I said, I don't know if I can lay 4.5 with the Jags here, but at the end of the day, I can't dispel the Colts at all. This Colts team has momentum. Even when Anthony Richardson went down, they stuck with it and they got the job done last week.
Yeah, especially when Gardner Minshew feels like he comes in every game. It's not like he just, coming off the bench. He's had reps in several regular season games already. Let's move on to one of my more favorite games this week. We have the Vikings versus the Bears. Vikings are 2.5 road favorites. And yes, Justin Jefferson's on the IR. I get it. But we have Kirk Cousins going up against a team that has won one game in the last calendar year. They get a big win on primetime versus the Washington. Everybody thinks they're back. Like, give me a fucking break. We're not going to sit and act like Kirk Cousins hasn't been dicing up every single defense he's went against. I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in passing yards right now. And yes, he's missing Justin Jefferson, but we're not going to act like he doesn't have TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne. Like, he's got dogs out there. And this Chicago's Bears defense is non-existent. And once they get to the secondary, it's free game back there. It's just Kirk Cousins hit the guy who's open. I love the Vikings in the spot. You're getting them under a field goal. Give me the Vikings all day. What do you got?
You already know I got the Vikings here minus 2.5. Now I want everybody to listen to what Jared said. Please pump the brakes on this Bears team right now. That defensive performance was solely off of two things: offensive performance really well, making big plays, giving them big leads, and making the offense one-dimensional. Never again. No, I mean, the Commanders ran the ball, I swear, like less than double digits, around double digit, like 10, 11, like very, very, like the low teens, under double digits. That is not going to happen this week. That is not going to happen this week. Things will be on script. Things will be, like I said, things will be played out. You can't. That Bears defense forcing up many turnovers last week is frowned upon. Like you said, that's been one of the Achilles heel for the Commanders all throughout the year. Sam Howell's been looking, like I said, he's doing great, good, with the ball on the field, then boom, turnovers happen. So, like I said last week, everybody next, it's the Commanders. I like my team, but this is the Commanders. This could be a letdown spot. And sure enough, I was right. I'll be damned if it's going to be a letdown spot with this Vikings team who can continuously move the ball up and down the field, limit turnovers. Now, granted, he might turn the ball in the red zone. He might turn the ball over in the red zone one time a game. But let's be honest. Really, the Chicago Bears, remember how we was talking about them 2 weeks ago? Let's just not forget about that.
The Bears are the Bears. That's all I'm going to say.
Bears.
This next game, bro, I really don't want to talk about it. It's the Patriots plus 3.5 against the Raiders. The right side of this shit is obviously the Patriots because of the numbers. Am I going to put a fucking penny on this? Absolutely not. Am I going to watch this? No way in hell. Mac Jones probably has PTSD because he gave the freaking whatever that was. That Jacoby Myers bullshit to Chandler Jones. Who in the hell knows what happened with that shit? Yes, I was on the Raiders last week. I love them. We didn't play them in the contest, and they go out there and they handle business. So whatever. The Raiders are the Raiders. The Patriots, I don't even want to talk about them, but this is going to be the act like they're not on the board special for me. What about you?
Yeah, nah, I don't want to talk about. Yeah, nah. This is one of those. Like I said, this is one of them games I stay away from, bro. Like
this is like the ugliest 4:00 game ever.
What's bad? What's bad about it is I would have thought at least I had one good coach out there. Right now, the coaching looks bad on both sides. I mean, both sides. Bill Belichick, for the first time in his career, got shellacked. He probably had back-to-back worst games in his coaching career. Right there, getting smacked like that. And the one thing I could say about the Raiders is, granted, they played Jordan Love, and Jordan Love struggled. Like I said, Jared was right on with that. He was right on with that. But that defense has been playing the defense has really very encouraged me. One thing that's the one, what would I say, compliment I would give the Raiders now. The running offense gotta pick it up, man. Gotta pick it up. I don't know what's going on with the whole Josh Jacobs, the whole running game with Josh Jacobs back there, but it has to pick it up. Jimmy Garoppolo can't carry that weight for so long, but glad he doesn't have to carry so much weight. He's playing against Mac Jones. Yeah, I'm sorry, he's playing against a Big Mac with a side of fries out there, honestly.
Yeah, this is the bum bowl of the week. We've had a couple
Bumble
of
of the
those.
week.
Exactly. This is the bum bowl of the week. And you got the bimbo coach versus the coach who's lost his fire and two quarterbacks who just seem to pass it to the other team more than they pass to their own. Let's move on to a game that I'm very intrigued by. And that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Lions. Tampa Bay plus 3.5 at home. Dino, what is the Buccaneers team known for?
Oh, defense.
Defense.
It has
right.
to be defense. Has to be defense.
There's been one team that the Buccaneers have faced this year that have ran for over 48 yards. Do you know what that team was?
Oh, you said ran over 48? 40. Holy shit. Who was that?
That was the Eagles. DeAndre Swift had almost 200 yards.
Yeah, he had 175. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, they have been shut down. Okay. What does this Lions team like to do? What do they like to establish?
The running game with David Montgomery, of course.
Okay. So if they can't establish the running game, what does that mean?
You got to throw the ball and become one-dimensional.
Okay. And who is covering these banged up receivers?
Oh man, look, what they used to call them, the grave diggers, I think is what they call them back in the Super Bowl. They got Carlton Davis, Jamal Dean? I can't remember his first name, and Antonio Winfield Jr. And he's a son of a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so you have and a lot of teams they could be cornerback ones going against Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's banged up. Sam Laporta is going to be getting hulked down by Levante David. And then you have 3 cornerback ones chasing Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to get his. But the moral of the story is if Jared Goff outside with a team that can't establish a run that makes him that forces the ball out of his hands, we know Jared Goff on the road is a completely different quarterback than Jared Goff at home. With all that being said, Your Honor, I will take the Buccaneers plus 3.5. Thank you. I rest my case.
Let me make a little quick correction. Yeah, not Hall of Famer. Sorry, Antonio Winfield is not a Hall of Famer. Just a childhood player that you remember.
Regardless, I don't give a shit about all that. Buccaneers plus 3.5. Do you have anything to say?
No, not gonna say that. You said it for me.
All right, the defense rests its case. Let's move on to another divisional matchup. The Rams are hosting the Cardinals. Rams are minus 6.5 at home. This game is kind of dead to me because the 6.5 points for the Rams seems a little steep, and the Cardinals I would only play if it was at 7. So this is definitely going to be a stay away from me, not in the contest. Obviously, this Cardinals team has looked a lot better than they should be on paper. Matthew Stafford's still Matthew Stafford. And they got Cooper Kupp back. They just traded Van Jefferson to the Falcons. Yeah, I mean, Tutu Atwell looked good versus the Eagles. And what's his name? Puka Nacua.
Yeah, Nacua.
He's still getting his. So Cooper Kupp over 100 yards in his first game back. I think they're clicking on all cylinders. I would not be surprised if the Rams go out there and tear the Cardinals' ass up. But this number I don't like the number, so I'll definitely be off this week.
At the end of the day, like I said, we're talking about a division matchup. Big, like I said, big point spread at 7 points there. You kind of, like I said, you can take a shot at it. Like I said, I do believe the Rams are going to come out there and give these boys work. But as we all know, division games, mysterious things happen. So, hey, man, like I said, I personally would stay away. Like I said, like you said, because that point spread is big like that. But nah, big props on big wide receiver props next week. Yeah, on Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, all of them. Yeah, play some props.
Yeah, 100%. So this takes us to the Eagles and Jets, and this is kind of the same scenario. It's at 6.5, and I don't know how to feel about it because when I saw 7 on the book, I was like, shit, you got to take the Jets here. Like the Jets have just been kind of playing decent. I mean, Zach Wilson doesn't look great, but that's still that defense. And the biggest thing is we know last year at home, Jalen Hurts covered. On the road, Jalen Hurts did not cover. Well, Jalen Hurts is 2-0 against the spread on the road this year. I am just thinking he's due for a rough road game, and I could see this being the spot. Kind of, getting towards the first third of the season. Jalen Hurts has kind of been playing really not above his head, but above where he was compared to last year when they were making that crazy run. I could see this being I see the Eagles winning, but I could see this being a rough win, maybe like a 4 or 5 point win, depending on what the score ends up being. I'll most likely be off of it. I'll probably take Eagles first half just because this Jets offense does start really slow. But I just don't, especially with being at 6.5, I can't take the Jets here. This will most likely kind of be another game where I just stay away in the contest. What about you?
Yeah, just sit back, get your popcorn, enjoy the game. Just don't, like I said, just kind of stay away from it. The one thing the Jets offense got going for him is the running game. Breece Hall had a 100-yard performance in his first game back in Denver. The Eagles are not Denver. And matter of fact, to make matters worse, they only give up 61.2 yards per game. And here's the 5 performances. Kyron Williams, 53 yards. Brian Robinson, 45. Rashad White, 38. Ezekiel Elliott, 29. Alexander Madison, 28. Nah, I can't pick a side to stay. I can't pick a side to save my life. The defense, like I said, hasn't shown promise. They're back. They're back to being a very, very great, dominant defense. It's just a matter of, like I said, the offense, bro. And I can't give +7 to the Jets there. But that's the right play. But that's why I'm staying away.
Yeah. So let's move on to a game where this is kind of another dead one, dude. We have the Bills -14.5. There's a huge spread for a team that's missing their middle linebacker, Tre'Davious White, and they're missing someone on their offensive line. So they're just getting banged up, dude. Like, I think they're missing one of their defensive tackles too. I can't remember who it was, but this team is just getting banged up, laying that many points. I mean, we know when Josh Allen wins, he wins big. So, this would kind of be it wouldn't be a shocker if they win by 20, but I mean, we're just expecting the Giants to show some type of damn life, right? Like, I mean, 14.5, this is definitely a stay away for me, but I mean, I really truthfully can't even take a side here. What about you?
Nah, the Giants need CPR. They need help immediately. Call the ambulance, 911. Get him to the emergency room stat. Because to this day, we even talked about it last week with the Dolphins. I didn't even want to talk about the game. And you see why. you saw absolutely why. And now you're going to take that team and replace it with another team who hung up 48 on the same team they faced. What? What are we talking about?
Yeah,
this is like I said, like I said, I can't take big spreads. 13.5 is one thing, but 14.5, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah,
just pump the brakes a little bit. Because it's only gonna be 1 week where the Giants finally decide to grow some balls and be men. Honestly, it's only a matter of time. But I don't see it, man. That old line stinks. If you want to bet anything, shit, bet one of the D linemen getting a sack or something. Shit, they give up damn near 10 a game.
Yeah, that's a game we're probably just going to stay away from. The numbers, it's just a dead number. We don't want to take the dog, and that's too many points for a favorite. Let's move on to the Monday night game. And this one kind of hurts. We have the Cowboys traveling to the Chargers. Chargers are +1.5 in the contest. I've seen on book it was +2.5 and 3. And I really, really, really like the Chargers at +2.5 and 3. But sitting at +1.5 here, this just seems like the Chargers with a capable offense. I could see them lighting up this Cowboys defense. A lot of people think the Cowboys are going to have a bounce back game, but they're traveling west to Los Angeles. The Chargers have the capability of throwing 30, 40 points up every week. I know the Chargers are kind of desperate for a win here. I know they're 2-2, but they've had a couple of rough losses. I like the Chargers here, but I can't play them in the contest at 1.5. I really would love them at 3. So if you guys can get them at 3.5, I would play it. But I don't know. It's gonna be hard to play the 1.5 in the contest. What do you got?
Ring them goddamn sirens. It's gonna be on DEFCON 5 here in a little bit. I'm letting you know this right now. Mike McCarthy and Dallas cannot lose this game.
Yeah.
They cannot lose this game. And you know what? I've been waiting for this too, bro. I knew it was a matter of time before I was going to call your ass in the motherfucking room. Mike McCarthy, come into the motherfucking room. Sit beside Josh McDaniels and them boys. Because, boy, I don't know what's going on. That offense ain't doing a goddamn thing. Ain't doing a damn thing. The defense has literally done most of the work. Scoring and everything. So, let's sit down, bro. You fired Boy Wonder. Boy Wonder went to LA. Sorry, because I'm not used to LA. So I'm still used to San Diego. He went to LA, and now he's running that offense. So we about to see who calls a better game. And we're about to see if the Cowboys are really battle tested. Because I put my fucking say it, Jared. I'm a fucking Commanders fan. I told you. I said, I like the Cowboys. I think they can win this game. Boy, was I delusional.
Man, I loved the Niners last week, too. You hurt my feelings.
Oh, my God. I loved every bit of it, too. I was so salty just the way I said it on the podcast, but I fucking loved it. They whooped the ass. But now that's all I got to say about it, man. Like I said, it's going to be a tough thing to call. Tony Pollard not being in the offense a lot really kind of scares me away from the Cowboys, period. I'm sorry, the offense in general is keep me away from the Cowboys, period. But nah, I would lean more towards Chargers.
Yeah, it's just the Cowboys are kind of in desperation mode. And I feel like when you have that much pressure, it kind of weighs on you. So I could see a meltdown spot for the Cowboys here. I would not be surprised if Justin Herbert just goes out there and torches that defense. So I like the Chargers in this spot. Just not going to play them in the contest just because the number. We're not going to get greedy and force it. That's the one thing we have to do in this contest is we have to get to our favorite spots, even if that means out on missing on one of our favorite plays just because the number. We don't want to get greedy and then we don't cover if they lose by 2 or whatever. So that's week 6, man. That's week 6 already. A third of the way. through the season. That is crazy. This is flying by. But yeah, there's a couple spots Donnell and I already like. I think we both agree on the Commanders. Niners is probably gonna be an automatic play if Watson's out. Dolphins are surprisingly a big favorite that we like. Love the Vikings, so and the Buccaneers too. So there's a lot of spots that we're getting to early in this week. This is probably, in my opinion, as I stated before, this is probably one of the most difficult weeks we've had so far. So there's a lot of ugly plays that are going to have to be made. But the biggest thing we tell you guys all the time is to play the number, and in the long term you'll be profitable. So this has been week 6 for our weekly preview. Dino, do you have anything you want to tell the folks before we get out of here?
Oh, no, man. Like I say every week, bet responsibly. Like I said, watch out young units. Don't go crazy. Don't go dumb. But definitely lock in this week. Pay attention. Tune in because Friday is going to be our picks. Like I said, man, this is a very, very gritty, dirty, shovel type week. So yeah, just make sure y'all tune in for any updates. Follow us on Twitter and all those platforms.
Yeah, obviously our numbers don't change in the contest, but they do change on your book. So if there's a number that you like, you want to get locked in, I highly recommend doing it because these lines probably are going to change by the time Sunday hits. So this has been the week 6 weekly preview for the Shred the Spread podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at @ShredTheSpread_. And if you're into TikTok, you can follow us on TikTok at ShredTheSpread. For Donnell and myself and our awesome producer Tyler doing the magic behind the scenes, thanks for listening to another episode of the podcast. We'll see you in the next one on Friday for our weekly best bets. Until next time, we'll see you.
Peace.